Okay, today we're going to take a look at the address book front end challenge from Topcoder. Now, this address book round 2 is supposed to set up the links for search for an entry and import entries from CSV. So I went ahead and added those in. As you can see from my last entry into this, I've cleaned up the look and feel of the page just a little bit. All of these are now buttons that you can click on. So as you can see, the main menu shows that there are currently 0 entries in the address book, and if we click on View All Entries, we'll see that no entries actually exist. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to put some entries in here. Now, because we now have the access to importing entries from a CSV, I'll go ahead and show you the functionality of this. So on this particular view, this is just the main view, I've chosen to actually import from the main view. So if you click on the Choose a File, it opens the document window, and it is looking only for CSV files, so it won't accept any other files that are loaded. So we'll go ahead and add the entries CSV, and this is just the starter file that we were given from last time. We'll import these into the database, and as you can see, the main menu updated. It now has 6 entries. You can actually view all those entries, and the entries are now in alphabetical order from View All Entries, and it's alphabetical order by their last name. So that's one update that I've added to the page. And what I've done is I've added 2 types of searches. So if we go back to the main menu, we can search for an entry. Now, searching for an entry, the button here is just an advanced search, and it gives us a range of parameters to search for. We can actually search for all of the parameters. So if I wanted to search for first name, Rich, no entries are found because there's no Rich in there. If I want to search for Bob, however, and this is not case sensitive, so you can search for either upper or lowercase. And you can see Bob Jones comes up in the database, and it actually just sends us to the search results. And that's with the advanced search. And as I said, let's see, I think Q was a last name that I used. Yep, Susie Q. So you can see that what's presented here is just a card with the last name, then the full name is given, their phone number in the appropriate format, and the email address in its appropriate format as well. Now, we can back out of this and go back to the main menu. And that is the advanced search. So the advanced search is just useful. You can search for any item that you know is already in the database. But let's say you don't know items are in the database, or which items are in the database. So you would go to View All Entries, and you're given this list of names, and you can do a simple search using the search bar at the top. And so let's say I wanted to search for Smith. I could go ahead and search for Bill Smith, and then just click on Show, and then you would get the card. So again, that allows us for our search functionality. Now, if we go back to the beginning, we want to talk more about the importing entries from the CSV. Now, one of the trouble that I ran into was I was having trouble upserting. So if I clicked on the same file to import, it would just duplicate all the files in the database. I fixed that by creating an upsert function on my controller. So basically, I'm sorry, on the model, not the controller. So basically, when I created this, I had to figure out a way to make sure that it upserted the value. If the value was there, it just updated the value that was given. If it wasn't, it would create the value. So again, if the entry is present, I just update the row to hash, so it just updates all the rows in the database. However, if the entry wasn't there or not present, then I create the entry with the row to hash function. Okay. So if you click Import Now, you'll notice that this doesn't increase at all. So what I also wanted to do was, if we view the first entry, or if we view Bill Smith, notice Bill Smith's telephone number is 4854. Well, I wanted to make sure that it actually updated as well, so I'm going to import the upsert CSV, and this will add a couple of entries and modify Bill Smith. So notice now that I have 9 entries, so 3 entries were inserted, and if I take a look at Bill Smith now, you'll notice his phone number has changed. The last 4 of the phone number has changed. So again, it's just updating his entry in the database. Okay, and one more thing was I needed to make sure that this actually paginated. So what I wanted to do was, or what I did was I added a pagination to this once the all entries increases beyond 10 entries in the database, because you don't want to have to like scroll around a whole lot to see the entries that are available. So if we go back to import from CSV, I'm going to import entries underscore paginate, and this is going to increase the number of entries beyond 10. So I now have 14 entries. So if I want to view all entries, you'll notice that 10 show here, and then the next 4 show on the next page. So I've added the pagination. Notice it's all still in alphabetical order by last name. So there you go. If there are any questions or comments, please feel free to post them to the forum on Topcoder, and I will answer them as best I can. All right, thank you.